All right. Hey, everybody. This is Orion Sang and Shawn Windsor with Detroit Free Press. Michigan opens the season with I believe, a 40-21 win.
Sounds right.
Over Middle Tennessee State. We're here to break down what we saw out there. Obviously, this is the debut of Michigan's new offense under Josh Gaddis, the first-time play caller. For the most part, I thought this was what was advertised and what we would have expected coming into the game. Michigan did some new stuff. They did some RPOs. They attacked all areas of the field in the passing game and ran some speed option, stayed with the zone running game. But I think you would agree with me that this isn't a finished project and they still have some kinks to work out.
Well, absolutely, Ryan. There were a few hiccups here and there. And Patterson, I thought, okay, they stumbled out of the gate. I thought they looked really, really good through the middle of the game. Mm-hmm. They slowed down a little bit in the third and then picked it up for a couple of drives in the fourth, even though they didn't get in at one point. But what I saw and what to me was almost as psychological as much as it was strategic and philosophical. The way they attacked, the way they kept throwing the ball down the field, it didn't matter what the down was, what the distance was, mm-hmm. what the contact, what the score was. They were kind of relentless in that way, right? Throwing first down and Ronnie Bell missing a 30-yard, 28-yard touchdown pass. Last year, maybe Harbaugh comes back with a run. Mm-hmm. This year, they go right back down the field. Sean McEwen catches the touchdown pass. To me, that's what I saw. I think we're going to see a whole lot more of that. Maybe unless it's Wisconsin, it's a tie game in the fourth quarter, whatever. But I think that the aggressiveness was as notable as anything else.
Mm-hmm. I think what stood out to me is that Gaddis and Michigan essentially did what they've been saying all offseason. The core tenet of Gaddis' offense is it's not speed and space, it's putting your players in the best position mm-hmm. to make plays. So what Michigan did tonight follows that philosophy. Early on, Middle Tennessee State was playing off coverage on the outside, so Michigan threw some easy passes, right, taking advantage of that. Middle Tennessee State was super aggressive. Michigan threw some screens, those leak-out screens to the running back. And then when Middle Tennessee State adjusted, Michigan found other ways to move the ball and create easy chunks of yards. So I'm talking about the RPOs here. So the RPO, I think,
the run-pass option.
Yeah,
right.
I think that fits Michigan perfectly because it fits the personnel. I think the RPO is essentially made for Shea Patterson. You could say Shea Patterson was made for the RPO. His ball handling ability at the mesh point. The mesh point is where the quarterback and the running back meet for a handoff in the backfield. His ability to make a decision on the fly and evaluate the conflict defender and make a read as to whether to pass the ball or hand the ball off. I think that stood out to me because he knows what he's looking at, and he made really good decisions back there.
He did, and Jim Harbaugh talked about after the game, not only to make good decisions in the run-pass option, but he made good pre-snap decisions at times when he was just dropping back. Well, maybe he wasn't going to drop back. He would check the play at the line of scrimmage, and Harbaugh was really impressed with that. You could see that. But I'm with you, Orion. The comfort level overall, mm-hmm. I thought was impressive. And think about this. When you're running the run-pass option, that's not easy necessarily to pull that ball back in, then drop back from there, mm-hmm. and still orient yourself and not get confused, right? And mm-hmm. keep your balance, your equilibrium, and then fire the ball down the field. He made several beautiful passes, actually, down the seam.
So too, yeah.
Right? Which is not an easy pass to make sometimes when you don't have the angle. But the two tight ends are sprinting down the middle, and I thought there was a lot to like about what he did aside from the fumble, and he kind of had that stretch where he went 1 for 8, and McCaffrey ended up coming in, and mm-hmm. Harbaugh said he was hurt, by the way, a little bit in some ways.
A little tight. They didn't want to aggravate that by using him on a quarterback run plays. For the most part, I think it was a solid debut for the offense of Patterson. I think what stands out is how aggressive they're going to be. All the stuff that they said they were going to add, they've added that. It looks a lot like what they showed in the spring game in terms of like the RPO, the zone running game, speed options on the outside, getting your playmakers in space. It looks just like that. It looks like what it was advertised to be. Obviously, the big question going forward is how do you square whatever appears to be going on at the quarterback position between Patterson and McCaffrey. I think Michigan got too cute at times there tonight, especially when they played both at the same time.
Yeah, early in the second quarter maybe it was, right?
Yeah, I think when you're doing that, you're running the risk of, one, you're disrupting the rhythm of your starting quarterback, and that's Shea Patterson. Two, I don't know what is to be gained because on those plays, they're not really gaining much in terms of deception. The opponent isn't really so confused as to what's going to happen, and they're not really gaining a lot of yards either. I think it's more worth it just to run the normal offense to keep your quarterback out there and just to do what you've been doing the entire game.
I would agree, but McCaffrey's a talented guy. They like him. They want to keep him engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, maybe about the deception. They also, I think they're going to give him a few plays here and there, either the run, which he did, he scored a touchdown tonight, 6-yard run out to the right to the pylon, but also to try to make a couple of plays through the air. Your point about them being at the same time, in fact, they had to delay a game, I think, in the second half when they did that. It's a good one. The other thing we should talk about real quick, the two running backs.
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet and Christian Turner.
Yeah.
Both showed tremendous quickness, especially Turner getting to the outside. You're talking about running options to the edge. And then Charbonnet hits that hole hard. But let me ask you this. It's more or less the same roster they had. Charbonnet is obviously a freshman. I mean, a couple of guys here and there. It's the same roster we saw in November at Columbus, and December against the bowl game. Maybe it was 1st of January. Did you see this kind of speed? Did it feel like this roster had this kind of speed and athleticism on the field? I mean, maybe in theory you thought that you saw the night. I know the competition level's different,
right?
But they just looked a lot more explosive tonight.
Yeah, they did. I think a lot of that has to do with being more aggressive in the passing game.
Exactly.
When you're giving your receivers a chance to make plays, I think that makes the offense look good, especially when it's working. I just think that the biggest question facing this year is, can the offense move forward enough to make up for the defense taking a step back? Because as much as what they've said about the defense could be true, they did lose a lot of star power. They lost Devin Bush, they lost Rashawn Gary, they lost Chase Winovich, they lost David Long, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Watson, all these guys who played heavy minutes last year who were stars.
And veteran guys.
Right.
But obviously, I mean, that's why they're gone, right? They're seniors.
Right.
Or juniors, I guess.
And the key thing for me is the defense, I think, is not going to be as elite as it was last fall. So can the offense make up for that drop in the defense? Because you can't have both. You can't have the offense stay where it was last year and have the defense drop. You're not going to be as good.
No, but I think if you're gonna lean one way, if you're gonna be sort of unbalanced, or not unbalanced completely, but if you're gonna have one side be better than the other, right now in this modern game, it needs to be the offense. Yeah. Watch the college playoff every year and see what happens. Right? Even Alabama has to score points because they don't shut people out like they used to. It's too potent. The way the game is set up, it favors the offense. And when you get 3-4 guys running downfield, and we saw some of that tonight, and sprinting out all over the place, and like you said, using the whole field, you're not going to shut that down. Not completely.
Yeah. We'll leave you with this. That is exactly the logic behind Michigan's switch to this offense. They want to modernize it, and they want it to be the strength of the team. And they're betting that in the long run, the payoff is going to be more than the transition costs, as we saw tonight. Obviously, there's going to be some transition, some adjustment, but they're betting that the payoff down the line is going to be worth all of this. So we'll see if it is.
Yeah, no, it's just week 1, right?
Yeah.
So, all right.
Thanks for following along. Thanks for watching. We'll have more on the Detroit Free Press tomorrow morning. For Shawn, I'm Orion. Good night.